Reverence is the enemy of learning. You cannot copy a god. You can copy a method. Wow, think about that for a second. That quote, it completely shatters this massive cultural myth we all just kind of accept. You know the one? The idea that icons, the absolute heavyweights in any field, are just born that way. Like they drop from the sky, fully formed, sprinkled with some magical fairy dust the rest of us missed out on. But what if we've got it all backwards? What if greatness is actually a mechanical output, something you can literally study, break apart, and just copy? Well, today we're going to absolutely demolish that myth and show you exactly how the extraordinary is engineered.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today we are unpacking a seriously brilliant resource, Jan Mauro's Become the Show, the Reinvention playbook. And to do this, Mauro looks at one of the most electric, seemingly untouchable figures in modern history, Freddie Mercury. Mauro takes this shy kid with a degree in art and graphic design and shows us how he deliberately engineered himself into Freddie Mercury. He doesn't treat him like some deity to be worshipped, but as a hardcore, documented case study in human reinvention. We're going to break down the exact mechanics of charisma, genius, and legacy, and show you how to apply these exact same strategies to your own work. Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a 4-part curriculum laid out for today. First, we'll look at the method over the magic, and then we'll hit the 4 moves. Invent the self, build the instrument, command the room, and finally, compose the legacy. Let's get into it.
Starting with part 1, the method over the magic, demystifying charisma. Look, whether you're using stadium rock tactics to captivate 80,000 screaming fans, or you're just walking into a Tuesday corporate boardroom, a classroom, maybe a startup pitch, the mechanics of commanding attention, they're exactly the same. We absolutely love the myth of the gift because, honestly, it's a super comfortable hiding place. Think about it. If greatness is just a birthright, well, that lets the rest of us off the hook to just play small, right? But the reality is that greatness is a mechanical output. It's built through deliberate and, frankly, often unglamorous skill. The magic trick you see up on stage, that's just the mechanics you didn't see in the rehearsal room. Let's move to and see how this builds with move 1, invent the self, the power to author your identity. So most of us operate under this idea of identity as discovery, like we're waiting around, passively trying to excavate the real me. But the playbook flips this entirely. It argues for identity as decision. Take our case study, a shy art student named Farouk Bulsara, a displaced immigrant outsider. He didn't sit around waiting to discover a rock star buried deep inside himself. No, he made a decision. He actively authored a replacement identity and literally named himself Freddie Mercury. He picked a name that meant Quicksilver, pointing straight at his destination, not his starting line. You don't inherit your identity, you choose it, and you act as if it's true way before you actually have the proof.
Now, right about now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't that just being totally fake? Not at all. There is a massive, vital psychological distinction between wearing a mask and stepping into a persona. A mask is all about concealment, right? It covers up an unstable core because you're terrified people are going to find out you're an imposter. But a persona, that's amplification. It's built outward from a super stable core. It means you know exactly who you are behind closed doors, and you are simply dialing up specific, authentic traits to serve a public purpose. A persona is just a tool. It's something a healthy professional can easily take off at the end of the day without having a total identity crisis.
So, how do you actually put this into practice right now? Well, first, write down the limiting default identity you're currently operating under. Get it on paper. Next, author a replacement sentence in the present tense. I am someone who. Then, and this is key, make it public in a low-stakes place. Change how you introduce yourself, maybe tweak your email signature, and finally, grant yourself permission. Because the crazy thing here, the gate keeping you out isn't locked from the outside. It's literally just your own fear of taking the leap before you feel completely ready.
All right, moving on to move 2, build the instrument, engineering the gift. So how do you actually build an original instrument? You use what's called the magpie method. See, original voices don't just pop out of a vacuum. Freddie Mercury took his background in visual art and literally smashed it together with opera, cabaret, and heavy rock. By borrowing widely from distant fields and transplanting those techniques into a totally new context, he built a sound absolutely nobody else could copy. Look at your own weird background. Maybe you studied finance, but you play the cello and you're weirdly obsessed with 19th century architecture. Do not apologize for that combination. Smash them together. That is exactly how you find your unique edge. But here's the catch. Building the instrument requires the right kind of practice.
Closed practice, rehearsing safely in private, that has a hard ceiling. You can't learn how an audience will react while you're just sitting alone in your bedroom. To hit true mastery, you have to shift to public practice. You need real audiences, high stakes, and compressed feedback loops. That whole perfectionist paralysis of waiting until you're completely ready, it's a trap. The performance isn't the reward for getting good. The performance is literally how you get good.
To actually implement this, clinically identify a specific skill you want to build and define the exact reps you need. Then, pick a small, low-stakes stage with a date that's coming up soon. And the golden rule here? Ship it before it's ready. You've got to get out of the drawer and be willing to fail in public. Treat early failure not as some final verdict on your worth, but simply as a status report on a building that is still going up.
That brings us to move 3, command the room, from presence to power. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the question, how exactly do you command 80,000 people? In 1985, at the legendary Wembley Live Aid concert, Freddie Mercury did exactly this, and he did it in just 20 minutes. It's widely considered one of the greatest live performances in history. But listen, we aren't going to just admire it. We are going to treat those 20 minutes as a masterclass in pure mechanics. If we deconstruct that Wembley set, it is amazing to see 4 perfectly learnable behaviors at play. First up, ruthless selection. They only had 20 minutes, a massive constraint, which forced them to play only their most direct, high-impact material. Second, he seized command early. There was no warming up, just immediate full projection. Third, he deliberately handed power back to the crowd by making them sing, instantly converting spectators into co-creators. And fourth, he built dynamic range. He shifted from bombastic rock to tender piano, so the audience never had a chance to grow numb. It is fascinating how systematic it really was.
And the best part? You can apply this in literally any presentation. Step 1, scale your presence to the back row. Push your energy bigger than feels natural. Step 2, seize the room in your first 60 seconds. Come out swinging. Step 3, control the silence. A true master uses the pause to create intense anticipation. Remember, whoever controls the quiet controls the room. And step 4, engineer audience participation. Stop trying to just impress people and start giving them something to do so they become a part of the act itself.
Finally, move 4, compose the legacy, playing the long game.
So the crucial point here is understanding the stark difference between an event and an asset. An event generates attention, sure, but that attention dies the minute you stop performing. You are basically trapped on a treadmill. An asset, however, is durable. It's a body of work, intellectual property, or a method that has self-sustaining value. It compounds and persists whether you are actually in the room or not. Your goal absolutely must shift from just performing fleeting events to building enduring assets. To construct this kind of legacy, you first have to flat out refuse this single box the market tries to shove you into. Span genres? Absolutely, but keep them tied together under your one unified identity. And crucially, you have to protect the work legally. Understand your contracts. The reason the Queen catalog recently sold for over $1 billion, it's because they didn't just chase fame, they relentlessly retained their intellectual property rights. You have to own the asset. But legacy is also intensely human. The source text gives us this profoundly beautiful thought. You compose the ending too. Dignity, control, and intention matter most at the close when they are hardest to maintain. Whether you're leaving a job, ending a massive project, or facing the close of a huge life chapter, authoring your exit with grace is the ultimate final act of control. A strong, deliberate finish actually reframes everything that came before it. To secure your legacy today, run through these concrete steps. Audit your current work. Are you building events or are you building assets? Refuse the single box by branching out into an adjacent skill or genre. Take your legal ownership seriously. Read your contracts and protect what you make. And lastly, for any project or role you are wrapping up right now, plan to compose your close deliberately. Do not let it drift. Finish it with intention. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole playbook. When we zoom out, it's clear. 1. Invent the self. 2. Build the instrument. 3. Command the room. 4. Compose the legacy. We've literally taken apart the ultimate showman and proved that the magic trick is pure mechanics. It is not some unapproachable, mystical gift. It is a method, and it's a method you can execute. You can no longer look at icons and use their gift as an excuse for you to play small. The architecture of greatness is sitting right in front of you, broken down into totally actionable steps. You have the tools to author your identity, to build your instrument, and to command whatever room you walk into.
The lights are up. The room is waiting. So the only question left is, what show are you going to build?